I feel like I'm getting deja vu. I feel like every single year we flip flop on the Pelicans' future to figure out who we want to build around. Is it going to be Brandon Ingram? Is it going to be Zion Williamson? I feel like we've just been going back and forth because it was always going to be Zion Williamson. He was one of the most hyped up prospects of the 21st century, but in his first 4 years, he only appeared in 114 out of 328 possible games. And that is just 34% of Zion's games that he could have played in that he actually played. But then he goes out in the 2024 season and has the most healthiest season of his career. He appears in 70 games. He didn't look as dominant as he maybe did in that 2021 season, but was still a really productive player in the league. He averaged 23 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. We got to see a little bit more of Point Zion throughout the season. He shot 57% from the field, but he unfortunately got hurt in their playing tournament game against the Lakers, which ruled him out all of that round 1 series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this year, the Pelicans have been the most cursed team in the NBA due to injuries. We just had to watch Elfrid Payton start at point guard for them, and hey, shout out to Elfrid Payton. He had 21 assists in that game because everybody has been hurt or banged up for the Pelicans. Trey Murphy was hurt before the season started. DeJounte Murray got hurt in the first game. Herb Jones, CJ McCollum, Jose Alvarado have all missed time. Same with Jordan Hawkins. But yeah, Zion Williamson this year has only appeared in 6 games, and he's been diagnosed with a left hamstring strain, and he will be out indefinitely. Deja vu, right? Zion hurt. It's just been a reoccurring trend, unfortunately, in his career. In those 6 games, he was averaging 22.5 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 45% from the field. It was a really small sample size, and I would say out of those 6 games, he had 3 good games and 3 bad games. 3 games where he shot north of 50% from the field, had over 25 points, and 3 games where he shot under 30% from the field and had under 16 points. And in 2022, the Pelicans extended Zion on that rookie extension to the max. They ended up giving him a 5-year extension, but we all knew that there was going to be some type of clause in the deal that could hedge the Pelicans' investment if Zion were to get injured. And according to The Athletic's Will Guillory, Zion Williamson's 5-year, $197 million max contract extension that he signed in 2022 included some interesting injury stipulations. A clause in that deal made it so that the last 3 years of his agreement are non-guaranteed because he only played in 29 games in the 2023 NBA season, the year before his current contract kicked in. Because in 2022, Zion still had 1 year left of his rookie contract that he signed when he was drafted in 2019. He didn't meet that games threshold, which now allowed the Pelicans to get out of the last 3 years, which is basically every year of this contract after this year. It includes a $39 million in 2026, $42 million in 2027, and $44 million in 2028. Now, Zion is way too talented of a player to get released right now, but we're on another season where Zion is most likely going to miss around 30 games because hamstring injuries tend to linger, and I wouldn't say confidently that he's going to be back before the new year. And Zion was floated around in some trade ideas in that 2023 offseason after a really good Brandon Ingram year, and Zion was banged up. And then last year in 2024, Zion, like I said before, was the most healthiest in his career. Brandon Ingram had somewhat of a down year, and now we're back to square one where Zion is currently hurt, and Brandon Ingram is trying to carry this Pelicans team. But Ingram has 1 year left on his contract. This is his final year in New Orleans under this current deal. Will he get traded at the deadline? Will they extend him? That is still yet to be determined because the Pelicans definitely can't let him walk in free agency for nothing. Because this team invested a lot into its current core. They traded away Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance Jr., and 2 future first-round picks for DeJounte Murray in the offseason. And you have to think the Pelicans could think about extending Brandon Ingram and then revisiting Zion Williamson trade ideas. But Zion is 24 years old. He has yet to prove that he could be healthy for back-to-back seasons in this league. In his rookie year, 24 games. Next year, 61 games. Did not play at all in year number 3. The year after that, 29 games. Last year, 70 games. This year, 6 games. We're going back and forth between Zion Williamson healthy years and injured years. And now teams that trade for Zion get a little bit of an out because they could release him over the next 3 years if they feel like it wasn't a good trade. But the Pelicans are going to take a hit in the trade market with Zion because of that reason. They're not going to get fair market value for Zion Williamson and what he could be in this league because of his injury concerns and his injury proneness in the past. So I don't think Zion ends up getting traded this year, although it would be an interesting idea. Maybe there's something that happens in the offseason if the Pelicans feel like they could trade Zion to a team that makes sense. Maybe they're desperate and they want to make an upgrade. And there's plenty of desperate teams in the league. I'm sure the Warriors would love to get another ring for Steph Curry. I'm sure the Lakers would like to do the same with LeBron James. The Clippers with Kawhi Leonard. The Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo before he wants out. There's plenty of teams that can make assets. There's plenty of teams that can make a trade with assets they currently have, like the Houston Rockets, the Brooklyn Nets. Hey, even the Atlanta Hawks, the Utah Jazz, the Portland Trailblazers, and even the San Antonio Spurs. Or hey, maybe Detroit or Charlotte wants to do something to pair up Zion with Cade Cunningham or LaMelo Ball. There's teams that could definitely be desperate and could look to trade for Zion Williamson if he were to be made available. But unless Zion Williamson comes back and still plays 50 plus games this year and shows that he can be as consistent as he was last year, the Pelicans are probably going to get 50, 30, 25 cents on the dollar in a Zion Williamson trade. And maybe if a new change of scenery happened with Zion Williamson and he pairs up with somebody that I just mentioned before on the teams of like the Hornets with LaMelo Ball or with Cade Cunningham or some of these elite point guards in this league, a healthy Zion and that duo could be the next great duo in this league. But will these teams want to give up premier assets for Zion Williamson, who may be damaged goods? You don't know how consistent his health is going to be, and is he going to even want to be there? Or when that contract is up in a couple years, is he just going to leave you for a bigger market, something that maybe he wanted to do before he got drafted out of Duke to the Pelicans when they won that 2019 lottery? And I think it's just definitely frustrating for the Pelicans fan base and Willie Green and this front office as a whole, because in 2019, when they traded away Anthony Davis to the LA Lakers, they win the 2019 draft lottery, and you're getting the most hyped up prospect arguably since LeBron James in 2003, and you have yet to win a playoff series from that trade. I mean, they let Lonzo Ball walk to Chicago. Hey, that looked like a good decision because of Lonzo Ball's eventual injuries. They traded away Josh Hart for CJ McCollum. I don't know if that trade proved to be worth it whatsoever. They have a ton of wings on this team right now with Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, two guys that are under contract for the next couple of years. Jordan Hawkins, who they took in the lottery last year. Brandon Ingram. There's a lot of wings on this team, and I don't think there's enough space for all these wings on this roster. And if someone's going to go, I think Zion Williamson is going to the top of those leaderboards, because I know Brandon Ingram's peak hasn't been as good as Zion Williamson's peak, and it maybe isn't as exciting. It's not going to sell as many tickets and jerseys, but at least he plays out there. So I think I'd rather pay Brandon Ingram $50 million a year because I know I'm going to get 60 plus games from him every year. Zion also split with CAA, and Zion Williamson just split with his major agency, CAA, one of the biggest sports agencies in the NBA. And this was reported from The Athletic. He's been represented by CAA since 2019. The news of the split comes the same day ESPN's Shams Charania reported that Zion Williamson is not close to returning from an ongoing hamstring issue. Shams also reported that Zion could be sidelined past mid-December as he rehabilitates a body part that has sustained multiple strains over the past few years. There was also a rumor that Zion wanted out of CAA because they couldn't get him to the New York Knicks, the team he wanted to go to before that 2019 draft. The Knicks were tanking for Zion throughout that 2019 season, and their lottery odds were the highest out of any team in the league. They had the worst record that season, but they dropped from 1-3 in the lottery. They ended up with RJ Barrett. Memphis and New Orleans jumped up to 1-2. And although John Moran has had his injuries and off the court issues, that pick has been a lot safer than what Zion has been for the Pelicans, because when he's playing, you're really excited. It's really entertaining watching Pelicans basketball. It's just you don't really get to see him as consistently as you would like. So yeah, let me know what you guys think the Pelicans should do with Zion Williamson in the future. Do you think there's a realistic scenario where he gets traded this season, next season? Do you think he makes it out of this contract, or within the next 3 years he ends up getting cut by the Pelicans so they could save that max contract spot? Let me know that down below. JustBallin, if you guys did enjoy, subscribe for content all NBA season long, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.